Welcome to the 2026 NFL Draft Edition of C4 Sports. And I'm C4, your host. The day is here. The NFL Draft is tomorrow. And I have my favorite picks for the draft. Some players I missed due to a lack of information or a lack of participation they had in maybe postseason exhibitions. My players are not in any kind of order. They're just my best prospects for the draft. For some high demand positions like offensive line, pass rusher, wide receiver, and cornerback, I kind of dug a little deeper to give some extended options at those positions. This draft will be less about the quarterback position and more about those that are around the quarterback or chasing the quarterback. So let's get started. Now, I have no idea what the Bears are going to do in the draft. They have so many spots to fill and so little cap space to do it. I would like for them to draft Zion Young in the first round, unless there's a premier pass rusher like Ruben Bain that drops to them. I would like for them to draft a defensive tackle in the second round, a linebacker in the third round, and for the rest of the draft, drop back, acquire a bunch of picks, and load up on HBCU talent. Why pick amongst the trash of the big schools where you can take the best of the HBCU talent? Now, so let's start. At quarterback, I have Fernando Mendoza. I have Carson Beck. I have Behera Morton. I have Garrett Nussmeier. I have Cole Payton, and in the later rounds, you can pick up Jalen Daniels, Diego Pavia, Ty Simpson, and Cade Klubnik. No, I don't have Ty Simpson as one of my top draft picks. I'm so sorry. I did all I could for the young man. I looked at all the information I could, but he is a deer in headlights on the field. You can't have that in the NFL. That young man will get hurt. He needs to sit for at least a season before you even imagine him hitting the field. Carson Beck is ready to go right out of the box. All right, that's the way I have it. My top running backs are Jeremiah Love, Seth McGowan, Jam Miller, Mike Washington, Caden Allen, Kalon Black, Jaden Ott, Transneum, I couldn't pronounce his name, I'm so sorry, young man, Richardson, Jadarian Price, CJ Donaldson, and yeah, that's it. At tight end, my top draft picks are Kenyon Sadiq, Eli Stowers, Max Clare, Josh Cuevas, Dylan Bentley, Jaron Karnak, Tamar Kozai, RJ Maryland, Nate Burkernicker, and Bauer Sharp. At offensive line, I have Francis Mawaga. I have Brockenmeyer, Onawana, Max Ickenhanker, Bo Stevens, Jeremiah Wright, Demetrius Crownover, Jalen Farmer, Fernando Carmona, Spencer Fano, Logan Jones, Sam Hike, Olive Van Wiga, Caleb Tierman, DJ Campbell, Armaj Reed Adams, Keelan Rutledge, Alan Heron, Riley Mallman, and Garrett DiGiorgio. I'm so sorry for anyone that I butcher your name. I'm not accustomed to saying some of these names, so please forgive me. At wide receiver, I have Casey Concepcion, Jordan Hudson, Jacoby Lane, Eric Rivers, Michael Studevant, Carnell Tate, Omar Cooper, Malachi Fields, Skylar Bell, Malik Benson, Zachariah Branch, Darian Brown, Antonio Williams, Colby Young, Malachi Lemon, Elijah Surratt, and Keaton Wheatgen, he's also a special team guy. I think if he stays healthy, he may end up being like a Hall of Fame guy. This guy that Caden Wheatgen, he's something else. Now, before I start on the defense, there's something I want you to notice about my list that may be different than popular lists. I didn't go by a lot of the popular names or the flavor of the month. I watched tape. I watched practices. I watched film. I watched combine. I crunched numbers. And so my list may be different than the popular list. But this is my list. All right. So let's get to the defensive tackles. I have Caden McDonald. I have Nick Barnett. I have Tim Keenan. I have Zane Durant. I have Lee Hunter. Lee Hunter, I like him a lot. But he has thin legs. So I'm not sure whether or not he can consistently push the pocket. All right. I have Grace Halton, and I have Rayshawn Benny out of Michigan. Now I'm going to start with defensive end, pass rusher, hybrid type players. All right. I have Ruben Bain, who they say have short arms. All I know is he has a motor that does not quit. David Bailey, he is a beast. Straight up unadulterated beast. Zion Young, he's just a consistent go-get-it guy. He stands up good against the run, consistent good pass rusher, has good awareness when he gets in the backfield. Nadeem Tucker, Mason Riger, Deshaun Williams, Quintavious Hutchins, Caden Curry, Danny Dennis Sutton, George Gumbles, Malachi Lawrence. Now, Malachi Lawrence, I have a question mark about. Some of these are not exactly sure. What I attempted to do was give an extended list of some players that would be acceptable or would be productive. Let's just say that. Productive football players on the field. So Malachi Lawrence, I have a question mark. Tyreek Sapp, I have a question mark. TJ Parker, I have a question mark. Kenyon Crawford, I have a question mark. Arvell Reese, I have a question mark because no one knows what his NFL position is. You can put him on the corner. You can have him rush. You can put him in coverage. I think you should just let the man play linebacker. Just let him play linebacker and let it work itself out. Akeem Mesidor, Nathan Voorhees, but wait, there's more. Cassius Howell, John Henry Daly, Caden Curry, Gabe Jason, I don't know, Michael Heldman, Romello Height, Derek Moore, Jack Kelly, Keyshawn, James Newby, Isaiah Smith, and DeMarcus Hendricks. Now, a lot of these names you're not going to hear on TV. A lot of these names you're not going to hear on TV. I had to go and I had to check production, not just names. So my lists are a list of names or prospects that more than likely will produce on the field. Now I'm going to start with my linebacker list. Okay, I have Arvell Reese. See, I have him in two different positions. Sonny Styles, Kyle Lewis, Nnamdi Abenzor, Jacob Rodriguez, Bryce Bocher, Aiden Fisher, Deontay Lawson, Jimmy Roller, I don't know, Torian York, and Shad Banks. As I said, this draft is more about specialists or specialty positions, not really about quarterbacks. So just like with pass rushers, defensive backs, I have a long list to give teams a lot of options. Okay, as far as cornerbacks, I have Hezekiah Massis, Josh Moten, Jeremiah Early, Chris Johnson, Justin Eaglin, Bud Clark, Armanis Brown, Dalton Johnson, Mansour Delane, Jermod McCoy, Devin Marshall, Keith Abney, Jordan Dunbury, Michael Dansby, Ty Redmond, Julian Neal, D'Angelo Pons, Wyatt Williams, Malik Muhammad, Colin Wright, Charles Demmings, Daylor Everett, Avery Smith, Ephesians Prysock, Julian Neal, Marcus Allen, and Davison Ibignon. I apologize for anybody's name that I messed up, but that's my cornerbacks. For my safeties, I have Caleb Downs, Bud Clark again, AJ Hawley, Jalen Kilgore, Emmanuel McNeil Warren, Xavier Mwakpa, VJ Payne, Robert Spears Jennings, Lorenzo Styles, Dylan Thieneman, Genesis Smith, Zach Wheatley, Jacob Thomas, Lewis Moore, and Cole Wisniewski. Those are my safeties. I even went so far as to grab kickers and punters. Kickers, I have Trace Mack, Dominic Vita, Jafir Murphy, Kenzie Masuzawa, and Drew Stevens. Punters, I have Ryan Eckley, Jack Stonehouse, Tommy Doman, Cole Maynard, and Jack Baumeister. I am so sorry if I messed up anyone's name. I am so glad to get to this point in this process. This is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And I'm glad to have gotten to this point where the draft is here and I finished the process. Hopefully, the young men that I named as far as my favorite prospects have good, long NFL careers. Best of luck, gentlemen. The NBA playoffs are also in swing. So let's kind of catch up with some serious information. The 76ers, they stunned the Celtics and tied the series at 1 apiece due to a great game by VJ Edgecombe and an outstanding last few minutes of the game by Tyrese Maxey. Boston died by the same threes that they lived by. Now the 76ers have tied the series at 1 apiece. Wembanyama, he was injured on a drive going to the basket and suffered a concussion. Right after he left the game, that's when the Trailblazers turned on the red light special for the Spurs, beating them and tying the series. I placed this loss on the Spurs, not necessarily on Wembanyama's injury, but on De'Aaron Fox. He is the veteran there, especially when Barnes went out hurt his wrist, hand, what have you. Fox was supposed to bring that home, and he didn't. Fox has to play better. The series is not tied at 1 apiece. Now, the LeBron-led Lakers, they kept the Rockets on the ground, and a stunning show of leadership by LeBron. Something that Kevin Durant has consistently failed to do during the course of his career. If you've watched my show, then you understand that the problem I have with Kevin Durant and the way he plays. But, hey, so be it. The Lakers have a controlling position in the series, and they're up 2-0. Now, there was an Ant-Man sighting in Denver. I mean, Ant was all over the place. And he's giving the Nuggets big problems. Anthony Edwards played a great game. He didn't run around the perimeter. He played close to the paint, forcing double teams and allow his teammates to handle that business. If he continues to play like this, he's going to be a real problem going through the rest of the playoffs. The Timberwolves have tied the series at 1 apiece. Now, the Atlanta Hawks, they use those Knickerbockers in New York to make a nest. I mean, those birds, them Atlanta Hawks are something else. But they're led by C.J. McCollum, a veteran. And C.J. McCollum gave the Knicks every trick in the book he had, and he led the Hawks to victory. If New York doesn't start posting and feeding Karl-Anthony Towns, this is going to be a long series. A long series that I don't think that the Knicks necessarily won. Okay? New York, they have two skilled players, Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. They both need to shoo away those birds before those baby birds, led by C.J. McCollum, they get comfortable and they get confident. Just a word of advice. The series is tied at 1 apiece. The Cavaliers, they continue to roll over the Canadian Dinosaurs. Donovan Mitchell, he is not in the business of giving mercy. He is a killer by nature. The Cavaliers are up in that series 2 games to 0. My guy, Thor, and his cohorts are blocking the suns from shining, baby. I expect the light to continue to dim for the Suns. And now Oklahoma City is up 2-0. The Magic, they use every trick in their bag to halt the engines in the Motor City. When Banchero comes to play, the Magic are dangerous. But Yesterday wasn't one of those days, and they got their skull drug all across the concrete in Detroit. Now the series is tied at 1 apiece. Now, as far as baseball is concerned, my Cubs are 14-9. And my Sox are 9-14, just the opposite. But I'm kind of impressed with the Sox. This is a good improvement on what we've been used to for the Sox. That tells you how bad they've been. That's pretty much about it. What I have today. The NBA hasn't started. The WNBA, hasn't started yet. And when it does, there's a story that's going to make consistent news cycles. So you might as well hear it here first. There are 2 women. I forget the team. I think it's somewhere in Texas. There are 2 women that are dating each other. And they are supposed to be eventually on the same team coming the WNBA draft. Now, we know this is certainly not the first of this kind, or they're the first players to ever come out of the closet as as being whatever they are. Really no one's business but theirs. But they came out and they made the statement. And so with them making the statement, now a news cycle will start. These women have started something that they probably will later regret, in my opinion. Keep your personal business to yourself. That's all I got to say to it. Now, remember not to just like this show, but to leave your comments so that I can mention you on later shows, giving you, my fans, the pub that you deserve. C4 Sports, where we blow up together.